Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel, Kollywood Hub.
Here is the recap and review of episodes 7 to 10 of the ongoing K-drama, The Queen Who Crowns. In episodes 7 and 8, the action has moved to Hanyang, and Bangwon warns his greedy ministers to fall in line, but trust Won-kyung's brothers to lobby for political positions and exploit their uncle status to butter up the crown prince. Bangwon is not a fan of their uncle-nephew bonding, so Won-kyung bans her brothers from making personal visits to the crown prince and giving him luxurious gifts. In the meantime, Bangwon gets outmaneuvered in treaty negotiation, which leads to a request for tribute brides by Ming. Won-kyung reminds him that he promised to abolish the Goryeo tribute system in Joseon, but there's nothing he can do about it now. Won-kyung asks to handle it, and Bangwon gives her a 6-month deadline. All the queen has to do is find dirt on the Ming envoy, courtesy of Jonghui's family, and blackmail him into a deal. But rather than a thank you from Bangwon, all she gets is his jealousy. Won-kyung is doing all she can for the benefit of the people, but His Royal Majesty, King Insecure I, thinks his queen is in a best monarch competition with him. Won-kyung brings up the current truce between Bangwon and his father. He says he achieved it by promising to build the Joseon of his father's dreams. He tells her he will eliminate all obstacles standing in the way of that promise, including her brothers and the crown prince if they rope the kid into their plans. For the first time in forever, Won-kyung is actually shaken. She can't lose her son due to the foolishness of her brothers, so she informs them that she will distance herself from the Min family. The Min bros take this as their cue to build their power separately from the queen's, so they rally their allies in court to demand that one of the brothers be made the head of the military. Bangwon shocks everyone by announcing he will abdicate the throne for the crown prince, and the Min brothers are overjoyed. But Bangwon did not go through the rebellion that brought him to power, only to yield the throne so easily. He plans to gather the brothers and all their open and secret allies and get rid of them in one fell swoop. Won-kyung refuses to allow her son to get mixed up in egotistic politics, so she gives Bangwon an ultimatum: withdraw the abdication decree, or she will join hands with her brothers. The idiot brothers have a low chance of success in crowning the crown prince as king, but things change if Won-kyung gets involved. So Bangwon withdraws his abdication, and the crown prince is safe. Won-kyung instructs her brothers to renounce their positions and relinquish their military power to appease Bangwon. But this does nothing to lift the king's spirits because, even if her brothers are gone, there will always be sycophants in court. As it turns out, after the move to Hanyang, greedy ministers and rich nobles evicted the locals from their homes and took over their properties. The prices of these properties have skyrocketed since then, and only the richest of the rich can afford to live in the now gentrified Hanyang. The royal relatives are at the forefront of this real estate hike, and they're very confident in their hold over Hanyang, even going as far as saying Bangwon can't do anything about it even if he's the king. The royal relatives refuse Won-kyung's instructions to return the properties to the locals they evicted, and they plot to have her removed from power for meddling in their affairs. They entrap the foolish Min brothers in their plot. But Won-kyung gets wind of it thanks to the Pansu News Network. That man may be blind, but his eyes are everywhere in Joseon. Won-kyung uses the royal relatives' plan against them, and the relatives and other greedy ministers are forced to give up their stolen houses in the process. The relatives' broker is also arrested for her role in the real estate hike, and the relatives promptly distance herself from her. As the week comes to an end, Bangwan appoints one of the Min brothers as Inspector General to root out corrupt ministers. He knows the Min bro will target the royal relatives, and the relatives will fight the Min family in return. This way, everyone will fight against themselves, and Bangwan's hands will remain clean. Bangwan also puts the crown prince on the marriage market, and Sukbyeon jumps at the chance to make his daughter the crown princess. But Won Kyung is in charge of the selection process, and she is determined not to allow the union to see the light of day. I don't envy whoever ends up becoming crown princess, because being a Joseon woman in power is not for the weak. Like Won Kyung, whoever it is has to deal with misogyny and disdain from the ministers, and jealousy from the harem. Speaking of which, Chae-ryong has become a Hyosun 2.0, and she tries to form an alliance with Jung-hoi against Won Kyung. She also capitalizes on Bangwan's insecurity to compare Won Kyung to the famous Queen Seonduk of the Silla dynasty, and harmlessly remarks that Won Kyung would have done well if she was the king of Joseon. There's also Har-yoon at the corner telling Bangwan to beware of Won Kyung because she has a king's physiognomy. Geez, it's Won Kyung versus everyone else in Joseon. Then again, uneasy lies the head that wears the queen's crown. The episode begins with the queen visiting Pansu, who shares troubling news about Sukbyeon's daughter. The girl had received a ring from Bamgul Kim, but blamed her innocent maid for it. As the queen processes this information and heads back to the palace, she notices a young girl displaying kindness to the people around her. Curious, she inquires about the girl and learns that she is the daughter of Mr. Kim, a former minister under Taesung-hwang, who was known for his faults. Despite her father's reputation, the queen sees potential in the girl and commands that she be brought to the palace, refusing to let her be judged for her father's mistakes. News of this reaches the king, and Anseong-gun Sukbyeon seizes the opportunity, pleading with the king to consider his daughter as the next crown princess. The king, while not openly agreeing, subtly leans towards the idea. Meanwhile, the queen arranges a Q&A session with both Sukbyeon's daughter and Mr. Kim's daughter. During the session, Sukbyeon's daughter impresses with her sharp intellect, while Mr. Kim's daughter shines with her deep empathy and emotional intelligence. To further test them, the queen announces a cotton fabric stitching competition to determine the rightful crown princess. Upon learning about the competition, Sukbyeon is livid. Chae-ryong, always scheming, suggests they sneak in a pre-stitched fabric and make Sukbyeon's daughter pretend she made it herself. While this unfolds, the king and queen have a tense discussion about the selection process. The king argues for Sukbyeon's daughter, insisting that political strategy should be the priority. However, the queen firmly disagrees, believing that the crown princess should be chosen as a lifelong partner for their son, not as a mere political pawn. Later, the king shares a warm conversation with his son, advising him to find a woman like his mother, someone strong and compassionate. The competition results are announced, and the queen commends Sukbyeon's daughter for her impeccable stitching. However, instead of declaring a winner outright, she asks Sukbyeon's daughter to teach Mr. Kim's daughter how to stitch, causing a wave of panic. When it becomes apparent that Sukbyeon's daughter struggles with the task, the queen directly asks her for the truth. Eventually, she confesses to cheating. Terrified, Chae-ryong quickly slips away, leaving her accomplice to face the consequences alone. The queen then reprimands Sukbyeon's daughter, not only for cheating, but also for taking Bamgul Kim's ring and wrongly accusing a poor maid. As punishment, she disqualifies her and appoints Mr. Kim's daughter as the new crown princess. The king is enraged upon hearing this, convinced that the queen deliberately opposed him. Meanwhile, Sukbyeon, furious over the outcome, turns to Chai Ryong for help. Chai Ryong suggests capturing Pan-su and presenting him to the king, knowing it would please him. Seeking revenge on the queen, the king decides to pardon Daebu, an act that deeply disturbs the queen's brothers. They recognize his true intention: to weaken the Min family's influence and support corrupt individuals instead. Upon learning about Daebu's release, the queen confronts the king, calling him a coward for resorting to such petty retaliation. Meanwhile, Sukbyeon and Daebu secretly plot their next move. Amidst all the tension, the queen's father falls gravely ill. The king visits him, and on his deathbed, the father begs him to spare his sons' lives. However, at his funeral, the queen's younger brother publicly denounces the king and forbids him from entering. The queen quickly asks her other brother to de-escalate the situation, but the damage is done. Holding on to this insult, the king soon declares the exile of the two brothers. Furious, the queen rushes to confront him, but is stopped in her tracks when she hears shocking news: Pan-su has been captured. The king, seeing Pan-su's unwavering loyalty to the queen, decides to make an example of him and orders his execution. The queen arrives too late, only to witness Chae-ryong's involvement in the matter. Overcome with rage and grief, she confronts the king in a heated argument before turning to Chae-ryong, coldly declaring that she is no longer a part of her life. Determined to honor Pan-su's memory, the queen takes it upon herself to arrange his burial, an act that further irritates the king. As the queen mourns, her brothers, now in exile, begin planning a rebellion against the king, vowing to make him regret his actions. At the same time, the king's health begins to deteriorate. Sensing an opportunity, Chai Ryong showers him with attention, ensuring she remains in his favor. Meanwhile, the king strengthens palace security, ordering the guards to prevent any outsiders from entering. To maintain his image, he instructs his ministers to distribute charity rice to the people and offer them haeomsa, a portion of royal land, as a means of support. However, Daebu is furious upon hearing this, as he had been eyeing the land for his own gain. Meanwhile, as the queen oversees Pan-su's burial, she overhears a conversation among the men assisting her. Unaware that she is the queen, they openly complain about the severe rice shortages. This leads her to a Buddhist monk, a close friend of Pan-su. In episode 10 of The Queen Who Crowns, the narrative reaches a pivotal moment as Queen Wongyong's unwavering commitment to justice and the well-being of her people takes center stage. Her actions not only highlight her strength and intelligence, but also set the stage for significant shifts within the kingdom. The episode begins with the Queen's strategic move to expose Daebu's corruption. Despite the inherent dangers, she courageously brings the matter to the king's attention, emphasizing her role as the people's protector. Her determination to uphold justice resonates deeply with the citizens, who cheer for her bravery. However, the king's jealousy is ignited by the queen's growing popularity. In a spiteful act, he orders the exiled brothers of the queen to commit suicide. The queen learns of their tragic deaths, just as she is expelling Chae-ryong from the palace for her past betrayals. Heartbroken, she confronts the king, and it is confirmed that her brothers have indeed died. Amidst this personal turmoil, the queen spends time with Grand Prince Chungnyeong. She is reminded of the kindness that the king once possessed, but has long since lost. This moment solidifies her belief that Chungnyeong, not Yangnyeong, is the right candidate to inherit the throne. However, the king favors Yangnyeong, raising the question, who will ultimately ascend to the throne? Will the ruthless Yangnyeong take over, or will the wise Chungnyeong save the kingdom? With only 2 more episodes remaining, the answer is soon to be revealed. This episode highlights the queen's unwavering strength and intelligence, proving once again that she is the true protector of the people. Her determination to expose Daebu's corruption, despite the dangers, demonstrates her deep sense of justice. She refuses to be silenced, using strategy and bravery to ensure the king hears the people's cries. Even when faced with personal loss, her brother's tragic deaths, she remains resilient, mourning them while still focusing on securing a better future for the kingdom. Her wisdom shines through as she recognizes the right qualities in her son, Chungnyeong, showing her foresight and commitment to the nation's well-being rather than personal gain. In stark contrast, the king continues to prove himself as nothing more than an insecure, power-hungry ruler. His jealousy towards the queen blinds him, making him act out of spite rather than reason. Instead of addressing his own weaknesses, he punishes those who threaten his fragile ego, forcing the queen's brothers to commit suicide in a petty display of dominance. His favoritism toward Yangnyeong, despite the prince's evident cruelty, further shows his inability to recognize true leadership. Time and time again, he chooses arrogance over wisdom, and with his kingdom slowly slipping through his fingers, his downfall seems inevitable.
Thanks for watching. For more interesting videos, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.